and looking more into the context of the play and relating it to the units, we then began thinking about objectives, like what does this character want to get out of this scene, like what did they want by the end result of this scene, and the super objective, like what would they want by the end of the play, like what is their overall goal, not just relevant to the scene but to the whole play. That got us thinking quite a lot more about like the tone used and the tone that we could use, and like the way we were saying things and the way we were like what specific characters might be thinking at certain points. And then after we'd done all this and we'd gone through looking at Stanislavski and the questions of the play and the themes, and began relating it to our characters and to our play after we'd been cast, I found Stanislavski really helpful because it made me understand such a difficult character to understand, because even though she is of a relatively, say, similar age, she's not too young, but she's, because I played Morris, but I mean she's not too young, but she's not like middle-aged or old. She's, I'd say, mid-20s, late 20s, so it's not too hard to relate to her by age, but by the things that she does in her background and the emotional traumas that she'd had are very different to myself. And she's got like a professional career, father left her to become a shade, and it's also based in the future, so you have to take that into consideration as well. And so we like began splitting up into units and objectives, and like say in scene 14, the Morris's monologue in it, I split that up into many different units and objectives, like when she's saying and if there's been no meaning between myself and myself, then I'm a monster. And it's kind of remembering, it's bringing back to surface this guilt and shame that she must have felt after she'd done like chopped up Iris with the axe, which was so against for so long, and that breaking of her like morale kind of code in a way, how shamed she must have felt from that, which is so different, which was like a completely different unit to when earlier on in the monologue when she's talking about how exhilarating and exciting it was, because I felt like she would be remembering that and remembering how good it felt to do these things when she was in the hideaway. And so it showed like completely different changes in tone, and it really helped to make it flow and sound more real, because you think more about what your character's thinking, about how they would say this, like, and how saying these words would affect them and what emotions they'd feel at these specific points. We then began to relate objectives and super objectives to my character. Like, say in scene 1, her objective is to get information on Papa and get him to give her the location of his server. Like that's also like her super objective. But like in scene 1, she's also trying to like kind of shame him in a way, like make him feel guilty, and that's like she's wanting to like make him feel really bad because she blames him for the death of Iris, which had happened the day before. Doyle, they're like the same person. And so that's her objective in scene 1, but also her super objective overall is to get the location of her server to shut down this play, the hideaway. And so and then that's like after we'd done that, I began thinking of the given circumstance, like who my character actually is, and like thought more about her background, and like looked through the play, like the other scenes, not just the scenes that I was in, the scenes with Woodnut in, to relate that to my character as well, because she doesn't give a lot away in my scenes, well, the scenes that I'm in playing Morris, but she does, however, give quite a bit away when she's Woodnut in the hideaway. So I began reading into that and thinking, how could that make me change the way that I say my lines, and and began thinking about her age, her profile, how I'd imagine her, and like how I'd imagine the interrogation room, and how I imagine she'd act not just in the scenes but in day to day. And so using Stanislavski, it really did help to make the play feel a lot more authentic and realistic, rather than like abstract, or using like a less realistic approach, which I felt like the play needed a realistic approach just because of the seriousness and the serious themes of the play, like how thought-provoking it is. So, yeah.